All right, what is up, guys? Super excited today. We got a lot of work ahead of us, but I'm gonna get right into it here. Right now, we're gonna be taking a break from the engine bay because as you can see, we have all the suspension out and we're going air. A few reasons that I want to go air is just because I like having a lowered car, but I like having the instant adjustability. And the new aero that I'm also getting is about 3 or 4 inches lower to the ground. And the front lip alone was like $1,000, so definitely don't want to destroy that, as well as the underneath of the car. But yeah, I got all the coilovers off already. And what we're gonna be doing actually is replacing this spring with a coilover bag. And if you guys remember the old R33 that I had, it actually had this exact same setup on it, so I'm pretty familiar with exactly how it works and what we need to do to get it done. So let's go inside and see what we need to do. Alright, so I just got the coilovers in here, and this is basically everything we're going to need to do this. Now, this is the Airlift 3P kit, and what I'm actually going to be doing is using coilover bags. I'm still waiting on them in the mail, but what they're going to do is replace this spring on the actual coilover. We can still have the adjustable dampening, and we'll have the adjusting on the bottom in case we want to go even lower. But basically what that bag is going to do is thread onto here and lock with this bottom collar, and then we'll have a little O-ring on the top that slides onto the actual shaft, and then once we put the top hat back on, should be good to go. But yeah, like I said, I'm still waiting on those in the mail, so my goal today is to get all of this prepped and installed on the car, get it all running, and then once we get the bags in, we'll just throw those on and be good to go. Alright, so in this kit, I'm going to kind of just break it down and show exactly what we need to do. Got all the instructions there. Definitely looks a lot more complicated than what it is. Basically, this is the management that will run all the lines out to the bags and to the tank. This is a filter that will connect to the air compressor. And then from the air compressor, we have to connect these to the harness. We got some adapters in there, and then this harness will run into the car and to the manifold. We'll have to connect that to the battery, and then we'll also connect that to the controller that'll be inside the car. The 1/4 lines that we're going to run through to the management and to the bags and all that. And then we got the tank. I believe this is a 4-gallon tank, and it is brushed, but I think I'm going to try to paint match it to the car eventually or something, but we'll see. Now I'm also going to be making a custom trunk setup with this as well, using the hardwood floor. And basically with that, I'll have the tank and the compressor on top, the management underneath. Should be super clean. I'm really excited to get started on that, but if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and let's get on with it. Just twist that on there, and then you're basically good to go. Now it does come with a couple extra filters for the future, but it has one in it already, so that's pretty much good to go. Alright, from here I'm probably going to connect the power and the ground to the harness here, and then that's pretty much all good to go. Alright, I got my little connectors here, and I got the harness all laid out. Now this stuff's going to go to the front of the car, and this is going to be in the trunk. Now, it's important when you do this to connect the air compressor to the back side, because both sides of the harness actually have a red and a black. So you definitely don't want to get those confused. That's actually going to go to the battery, but the Miata actually has the battery in the trunk, so we're going to have to run this all the way back here. But for now, I'm going to connect these, and then we'll get started on the tank. So So basically, to connect this, I just have to get the rubber part off of the wiring on both sides. I don't know why they have these little ends on here. I think that's if you want to run it outside the car. Alright, so I just got this harness all done. Looks pretty good. So we're pretty much done with that. Now I'm going to move on to the tank. And basically from here we have to run a line out to the compressor. And then we have to run a line out for drainage. And then one into this little filter right here, which kind of traps moisture, I believe. I'm not exactly sure, but we have to mount that, and then that'll run to the manifold. Then after that, we can pretty much get ready to put this in the car. Alright, so the first thing with the tank is to get these little plugs out, which are pretty stuck in there. This one's kind of destroyed. And then I'm going to start getting all the fittings where they need to be. Just got this first little bolt all Teflon taped, and this one is going to go in here. Now this doesn't thread in all the way. We'll basically just tighten that and it kind of stays sticking out just like that. And then we have one of these elbow pieces that are going to go right here, this bigger one, and that's going to go to the filter right here. Now thankfully this one's already pre-Teflon taped. So we'll just get this in and then we'll snug all these down. Should be good to go. And then once you tighten this down, it doesn't matter because this part actually swivels, so you'll be able to turn it however you need to. Definitely don't want to over tighten this either. Just want to do it enough so that it seals. And that should be good. And then if we need to, if we ever do have a leak, we can always just take it out and re-tape it. Alright, so I just flipped this tank around real quick, and right here is where the compressor is going to attach to the tank. Now, in the diagram, they say you can use extra line if you need to, but last time I just connected this right to here and it worked well, and then it'll sit next to it in the trunk like that and be super clean. Alright, I'm going to connect the compressor to the tank now. Just got that all Tefloned as well. Most of this doesn't screw in all the way, which is okay. That's how it's supposed to be. Just going to tighten that down now, and then throw that plug in there, and then move on to the bottom section. Alright, now this is basically how it's going to go into the car, with that being the front. This will be set up in the trunk just like that. We'll have the compressor on the right side, and then the harness will run through there. Pretty much got this all ready to go in the car now. Last piece I did was just run this little elbow out to this release valve, which will lead out to outside of the car. Once we get it in the car, I need to run a line from here to here, and this will actually mount vertically in the car, and then that will also run outside, and then we have to run the harness. Now I think I'll actually be able to get away without cutting this up and just keep this in the trunk. I might actually shorten it though, and then we'll connect that to the battery. But yeah, I'm ready to get this thing in the car. So I'm gonna get this out there and I'll pick it up from there. All right, so I just got all this in the trunk here and it actually fits pretty good. This will kind of give you an example of what it'll look like, minus all the wires and everything once we get the floor done. This will definitely be straight in there, but looks pretty good. Right now I have to run a couple of these wires through there up to the front, and then I need to ground this relay. I'll probably do that back here. I also need to get the management out there and just start hooking everything up. My goal today is to get the compressor running and also the control thing running in the inside of the car. So hopefully we can get this done. So I'm just mocking a couple things up here before I go any farther with the harness. I think I got the filter situation figured out. Pull this out real quick. Now, I basically just mounted it to the antenna pole right there, and it's sitting pretty vertically, so that should work. I'll probably drill a hole in the car and run that line to the bottom, and then I'll just have to run my lines from that to the tank underneath here once we do the wood floor, but that should work pretty good. All right, so it's looking like a mess, but I actually got the entire harness all figured out. I just mounted this relay to where there was a little hole for the tire mounts and stuff like that, so that's on there pretty solid. Got the management all hooked up. This wire is going to run to the battery, and all this stuff is going to be covered with the wood when I do it, so I'm not really worried about what this looks like. And then I got the two wires that run to the inside of the car already through. I actually just ran them through this hole where I did the neon lights, and then once I put that carpet down, you'll never see it. This one runs to the front of the car where I'll wire that to a fuse, and then right here I have the cord that hooks to the actual controller. So that should turn out super clean. I'm gonna work on probably getting this fuse thing all situated, and then we should be able to start it up. Been working on this thing for a while. I kind of skipped filming a few steps, but I think I got it ready to go. Let's check it out here. Hey! Hell yeah! So the compressor came on, that's good. Obviously, I don't know if this is going to fill up right now because everything isn't connected, but it's working. So this is definitely a good first step to get done. What I did is actually just wire this straight to the ignition. You can't really see under there, but just turn this off for now. Hell yeah, I'm pumped. All right, and that's it. Pretty much got done everything I wanted to do today. I think the hardest part was wiring the ignition switch. Just had to take apart the dash and everything, but other than that, it wasn't really too bad. Next time we're gonna be running the lines. We'll have the bags and the coilovers set up, and from there, we're gonna be on the ground. So I think I'm gonna end this video here. Definitely subscribe for more. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.